Commander Kim Min-ho was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming through the ship. He put down his cup and ran to the communications room of the UES Prometheus. The ship was humanity's biggest and best exploration vessel. Floating in the dark space between stars, Lieutenant Park Yuna was sitting at her station with wide eyes. Her hands were shaking as she worked on her computer. She had been monitoring space signals for 3 years, but she had never seen anything like this. "Commander, you need to hear this right now," she said in a worried voice. "Something is sending us a message from very far away." Minho walked over to her station. The screen showed strange symbols and numbers that meant the signal was coming from the Kepler 442 star system. That was where the friendly alien race called the Villani lived. They were peaceful creatures who looked like tall, thin rabbits and only ate plants. "Play the message," Minho ordered. The speakers crackled, and then a voice spoke in perfect English. But it was not a human voice. It sounded scared and desperate. "This is the Villani Federation calling for help. Unknown enemy forces are destroying our worlds. We are a peaceful species, and we cannot fight them. We are asking for help from the Deathworld inhabitants of Earth. Please come quickly. Time is running out." Minho felt his blood turn cold. The Villani were calling humans Deathworld inhabitants. That was what aliens called people from Earth, because they thought Earth was too dangerous for normal life.
Oh.
Most aliens were afraid of humans because they came from a planet where everything tried to kill them. "How many languages is this message?" Minho asked. 17 different languages, sir," Yuna replied, "including Korean, English, and Spanish. They really want us to understand." The message played again, but this time in Korean. The fear in the alien voice was even clearer. Minho had met the Villani before. They were kind creatures who had taught humans how to travel faster than light between stars. In return, humans had shown them better ways to grow food. They had been friends for 5 years now. "Get me Admiral Lee Jae-won immediately," Minho said, "and wake up everyone on the senior staff. This is an emergency." Within an hour, the communication room was full of people. Admiral Lee appeared on the big screen from Earth, looking tired but alert. He was an old man with gray hair who had fought in many battles to protect Earth. "Show me everything," the Admiral said. They played the message again. This time, they also showed the location data that came with it. The Villani had sent exact coordinates for their home system. They were not just asking for help, they were begging for it. "Sir," said Captain Choi Daeho, who commanded the ships, "Marine soldiers. The Villani have never asked for military help before. They do not even have weapons on their ships. If they are calling us for help, something really bad must be happening." Dr. Han Soyang stepped forward. She was the scientist who had first learned how to talk to the Villani. She had spent years studying their language and culture. "Admiral, I have been analyzing their message. They mention things that do not make sense. They talk about shadows that eat light and creatures that feed on fear. This is not normal alien technology." Admiral Lee was quiet for a moment. He looked at the star map showing the location of the Villani worlds. "How long would it take us to get there?" "About 6 days, if we push the engines hard," answered the ship's engineer, Lieutenant Kong Seojin. "That might be too late," Dr. Han said quietly. "The message was sent 3 days ago. By the time we get there, ... She did not finish the sentence, but everyone understood. The Villani might already be dead. Admiral Minho said firmly, "We have to try. The Villani trusted us enough to call for help. We cannot let them down." The Admiral nodded slowly. "You are right. That this is bigger than one ship. If something is attacking the Villani, we need more than the Prometheus." He paused and looked at each person on the screen. "I am calling an emergency meeting of the Seoul Defense Council. We are going to send everything we have." "Everything, sir?" Captain Choi asked. "Every ship that can fight. Every weapon we can carry. Every soldier who is willing to go." The Admiral's voice was hard as steel. "The galaxy is about to learn something. About humans, we protect our friends, no matter what the cost." After the call ended, the room was quiet. Everyone was thinking about what they had just heard. The Villani were gentle creatures who had never hurt anyone. Now, something was destroying their worlds, and they had called the most dangerous species in the galaxy for help. "Sir," Yuna said softly, "do you think we can save them?" Minho looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, their friends were dying. "We are going to try our best." When humans try their best to protect someone they care about, amazing things can happen. He turned back to his crew. "Send a message back to the Villani. Tell them the fleet is coming." The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Within 6 hours, every major news station was broadcasting the same story. The peaceful Villani aliens were under attack, and they had asked humanity for help. People stopped their normal lives to watch the reports on their phones and televisions. "Captain." Bayman J was eating dinner with his family when his military phone rang. He was the commander of the EU's Ragnarok, the newest and most powerful warship in Earth's fleet. The ship was so big it took 5 minutes to walk from one end to the other. "Captain, you need to get to your ship right now," said the voice on the phone. "We are mobilizing everything." Bay kissed his wife and hugged his 2 children. "To go help some friends," he told them. "I will come back as soon as I can." "Be careful, Daddy," his daughter said. "The aliens on TV look scary." "The scary aliens are not our friends," Bay explained. "Our friends are the nice ones who need help." All across Earth, the same scene was happening. Military officers were leaving their homes. Civilian ship captains were getting emergency calls. Even people who had never been to space before were volunteering to help. Commander Yoon Juwon was supposed to be taking rich tourists to see the rings of Saturn on her luxury ship, Defender. Instead, she was ordering her crew to remove all the fancy furniture and install weapon systems. Her ship was not built for fighting, but she was going to make it fight anyway. "Ma'am, are you sure about this?" asked her chief engineer. "This ship is meant for sightseeing, not war." "The Villani do not care what kind of ship we have," Yoon replied. "They just need help, and we are going to give it to them." In the military bases around Earth, soldiers were packing their equipment as fast as they could. Lieutenant Colonel Park Hyun-woo was loading his Marines onto transport ships. These were tough soldiers who had fought pirates and rebels in the outer parts of the solar system. "Listen up," Park told his men. "We do not know what we are going to face out there. The aliens who are attacking our friends have technology we have never seen before. But we have something they do not have." "What is that, sir?" asked one of his sergeants. "We have each other. We have a reason to fight that they will never understand. We fight to protect people who cannot protect themselves." The orbital shipyards around Earth became busier than they had ever been. Before, ships that had been built for different purposes were being changed into warships. Cargo vessels got armor plating and missile launchers. Mining ships had their drilling equipment replaced with laser cannons. Even some passenger ships were converted to carry soldiers and medical supplies. Dr. Han Soyoung was working day and night to prepare information packets for all the ship captains. She was putting together everything humans knew about the Villani and their attackers. It was not very much information, but it was all they had. The Villani described their enemies as shadows that eat light, she explained to a group of military officers. They talk about ships that can disappear and reappear anywhere they want. Their weapons seem to ignore normal defenses. "So how do we fight something like that?" asked Captain Choi Daeho. "We adapt," Dr. Han said. "That is what humans do best. We learn, we change, and we overcome." The biggest surprise was how many civilian volunteers came forward. Ship owners who had never fired a weapon in their lives were asking to join the fleet. Factory workers were volunteering to serve as crew members. Even teenagers who were too young to join the military were begging to help in any way they could. Within 72 hours, something incredible had happened. 200 ships were gathered near Earth, ready to fight. It was the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. The ships came from all over the solar system, military vessels from Mars, corporate security ships from the asteroid belt, and even a few tourist ships that had been converted for war. Captain Bay stood on the bridge of the Ragnarok and looked at the fleet through his windows. He had never seen so many human ships in one place. They were all different sizes and shapes, but they were all flying together toward the same goal. "This is amazing," said his first officer. "I've never seen humans work together like this." "We work together when it matters," Bay replied. "And this matters more than anything." Admiral Lee Jae-won sent a message to all the ships in the fleet. His face appeared on every screen, looking serious but determined. "People of Earth," he said, "today we are not just soldiers or sailors or pilots, we are protectors. We are going to help friends who cannot help themselves. The galaxy has always been afraid of us because we come from a dangerous world. Today, they will learn that being dangerous can be a good thing when you use it to protect the innocent." The fleet began to move toward the hyperspace jump point. 200 ships, carrying the hopes and anger of an entire planet, prepared to travel faster than light to save their alien friends. In the communication center of the Prometheus, Lieutenant Park Yuna sent one final message toward the Villani system. "Hold on. Fleet is coming." Human fleet traveled through hyperspace for 6 days. When they finally arrived at the Kepler 442 star system, Captain Bay Min-jae felt sick to his stomach. Through the windows of the Ragnarok, he could see 3 planets that had once been beautiful green worlds. Now they looked like broken toys that a giant child had smashed. "My God," whispered Commander Yoon Gi-won from her ship. "What did they do to those poor worlds?" Villani planets were covered in huge scars that looked like someone had torn pieces right out of the ground. Some areas were completely black, as if all the light had been sucked away. Strange purple fires burned in places where cities used to be. "All ships, stay in formation," ordered Commander Kim Min-ho from the Prometheus. "We do not know what we are dealing with yet." Lieutenant Park Yuna was monitoring all the radio signals in the system. "Commander, I am picking up very weak signals from the planets. Some Villani are still alive down there, but not many." That was when they saw the enemy ships. At first they looked like pieces of empty space floating between the planets. The ships were so black that they seemed to eat the light around them. They moved in ways that hurt to watch, appearing in one place and then suddenly being somewhere else without traveling through the space in between. "How many enemy ships do you count?" asked Captain Bay. "That is the problem, sir," replied his weapons officer. "Every time I count them, I get a different number. It is like they are not really there, but they are." The largest enemy ship was the size of a small moon. It hung near the middle Villani planet like a hungry animal waiting to finish its meal. Smaller ships, each about the size of a human destroyer, moved around it in patterns that made no sense. "These must be the hegemony ships the Villani warned us about," said Dr. Han Soyoung. "They have been destroying civilizations for thousands of years." Captain Choi Dae-ho was studying the enemy through his ship's scanners. "Their technology is completely different from anything we have ever seen. How do we fight ships that can disappear?" The answer came faster than anyone expected. The hegemony. Ships had noticed the human fleet, and they did not seem worried at all. 3 of the smaller enemy ships turned toward the humans and began to approach. "All ships, battle stations," commanded Captain Bay. "Here they come." The first hegemony ship suddenly appeared right next to the human destroyer Guardian. It did not fire normal weapons. Instead, something invisible hit the Guardian and went right through its shields like they were not even there. The human ship's hull began to crack and bend in impossible ways. "Our shields are useless," shouted the Guardian's captain. "Their weapons are doing something to the metal itself." The second hegemony ship attacked the converted cargo vessel defender. Commander Yoon watched in horror as her ship's walls began to twist and change shape. But something strange happened. Instead of panicking like the Villani had done, her crew got angry. "You want to play rough?" Yoon shouted. "Engineering, reroute. All power to the mining lasers. If they can bend reality, let us see how they like being burned." The defenders' mining lasers, which had been used to cut up asteroids, fired at full power at the hegemony ship. The alien vessel flickered and became solid for a moment, and the lasers hit it hard. The enemy ship made a sound like breaking glass and pulled back. "Did you see that?" Dr. Han called out excitedly, and we fought back with strong emotions. Their ship became solid. Their phasing ability has something to do with fear. Captain Choi saw his chance. The hegemony ship attacking his vessel was trying to use some kind of mental weapon to make his crew afraid. But his Marines were not afraid. They were furious that someone was hurting innocent people. "All ships, emergency ramming speed." Choi ordered. These things feed on fear, so let us give them something else to eat. The Vengeance accelerated directly toward the hegemony destroyer. The alien ship tried to phase out of normal space, but the anger and determination of the human crew seemed to interfere with its ability. The two ships collided in a tremendous explosion that lit up the dark space. When the light faded, the hegemony ship was completely destroyed, but the Vengeance was badly damaged and drifting. "Vengeance, report," called Captain Bay. "We are alive, but our engines are gone," Choi replied. "But that alien ship is definitely dead. I think we found their weakness." The remaining hegemony ships pulled back, clearly surprised. They had been expecting the humans to run away in terror like every other species they had encountered. Instead, the humans had gotten angry and started fighting back in ways that disrupted the aliens' advanced technology. "All ships, new battle plan," announced Commander Kim. "These creatures use fear as a weapon, but human emotions seem to interfere with their abilities. Stay angry, stay determined, and keep thinking about why we are here." Lieutenant Colonel Park Hyun-woo was preparing his Marines for boarding actions. "You heard the man. We are here to save our friends. These alien monsters picked the wrong species to mess with." The battle for the Villani system had begun, and the hegemony was about to learn why the rest of the galaxy called humans Deathworlders. The battle in the Kepler 442 system was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The hegemony ships kept trying to use their fear weapons on the human fleet, but something strange was happening. Instead of running away in terror like other species, the humans were getting angrier and more determined. Major Song Nari was leading her Marines toward a damaged hegemony ship that was drifting near the second planet. Her team was packed into a small assault shuttle, preparing to board the alien vessel. The shuttle's pilot was nervous about getting close to the enemy ship. "Ma'am, that thing is giving off some kind of energy that makes me feel sick," the pilot said. "And the air readings show the atmosphere inside will be poisonous to humans." "Good thing we brought breathing masks," Song replied calmly. "And feeling sick just means we are getting close to the enemy. Marines, remember why we are here. Those peaceful Villani are counting on us." The shuttle attached to the hegemony ship's hull, and Song's team cut through the metal with their plasma torches. Inside the alien vessel, everything was wrong. The gravity was 3 times stronger than normal, which would have crushed most alien species. The air was filled with toxic gas that burned the lungs. Strange purple lights flickered everywhere, and the walls seemed to move when nobody was looking at them. "This place is designed to kill anyone who enters," said Sergeant Kim Tae-yang as he checked his weapon. "No wonder other species could not fight these things." But the Marines from Earth just adjusted their equipment and kept moving. They had trained in underwater caves, on burning deserts, and in the frozen mountains of Antarctica. A scary alien ship was just another Tuesday for them. Contact Front called out Corporal Lee Minji as they entered the ship's main corridor. Strange creatures that looked like living shadows were moving toward them. The aliens made horrible noises that were supposed to drive other species insane with fear. The human Marines opened fire with their pulse rifles. The energy beams went right through the shadow creatures at first, but then something interesting happened. As the Marines got more focused on protecting their Villani friends, their weapons began to affect the aliens. "Keep thinking about the Villani children we saw in the videos," Song ordered her team. "Remember how scared they looked? We are here to make sure they never have to be scared again." The shadow creatures began to become more solid as the humans' protective anger grew stronger. Soon the Marines were able to fight them normally, pushing deeper into the alien ship, back in space. Dr. Han Soyang was analyzing the battle data from her position on the Prometheus. She was making an incredible discovery about how human emotions affected the hegemony technology. "Commander Kim, I think I understand what is happening," she said excitedly. "The hegemony ships run on fear energy. They absorb the terror of their victims to power their weapons and phasing abilities. But human emotions work differently." "Do you mean?" asked Commander Kim Minho as he watched the tactical display. "When humans get protective of someone they care about, we do not just feel fear or anger. We feel determination, love, and the need to sacrifice for others. These emotions seem to disrupt the hegemony's technology completely. This explained why the alien ships kept becoming solid when they attacked humans. The hegemony had spent thousands of years feeding on species that became paralyzed with fear. They had never encountered a species that responded to danger by becoming more determined to protect others. Captain Bay was coordinating the fleet's movements from the Ragnarok. He could see that the humans were winning individual battles, but there were still too many enemy ships. The massive hegemony mothership was still intact, and it was moving toward the planet where most of the surviving Villani were hiding. "All ships, we need to work together like a pack," Bay announced to the fleet. "These aliens fight as individuals, but we fight as a team. Let us show them how Earth's apex predators really hunt." The human ships began to move in coordinated patterns that the hegemony could not predict. The converted mining ship Resilient worked with the military cruiser Defender to herd 3 enemy ships toward the Ragnarok's main guns. The luxury liner turned troop transport New Hope provided covering fire while marine shuttles attacked enemy ships from unexpected angles. "This is incredible," said Commander Yoon as she watched the battle. "We are fighting like wolves hunting. Together, each ship supports the others." The hegemony ships tried to respond, but they had never faced coordinated pack tactics before. They were used to fighting species that scattered in panic or fought as individuals trying to save themselves. The human fleet moved like a single organism with 200 different parts. Lieutenant Colonel Park Hyunwa's Marines had captured their first intact hegemony ship. The aliens inside had retreated to the deepest parts of the vessel, confused and frightened by enemies who seemed immune to their fear weapons. "The tables have turned," Park reported to the fleet. "For the first time in their history, the hegemony is experiencing fear. They do not know how to deal with prey that fights back." Captain Bay smiled grimly as he watched the enemy fleet beginning to pull back toward their mothership. "They are about to learn why the galaxy calls us Deathworlders. Time to end this." The final battle began when the massive hegemony mothership decided it had seen enough. The alien vessel was larger than any human city, covered in weapons that could destroy entire planets. It had been floating near the third Villani world like a giant predator. But now it was moving toward the human fleet. Captain Bay Minjae stood on the bridge of the Ragnarok and watched the enormous enemy ship approach. Its surface was so black that it seemed to absorb all the light around it. Strange energy patterns danced across its hull like purple lightning. "All ships, this is it," Bay announced to the entire human fleet. "That thing has destroyed hundreds of worlds. Today, we stop it from destroying any more." The mothership fired first. A beam of dark energy shot toward the human fleet, but something amazing happened. Instead of hitting the ships, the beam seemed to bend and twist around them. The protective emotions of 200 human crews were creating a kind of shield that the hegemony weapons could not penetrate. "Impossible," Dr. Han Soyoung whispered as she watched her instruments. "Their main weapon is completely ineffective against us. Our collective determination is disrupting their entire energy system." Commander Kim Min-ho coordinated the fleets. Response: "All ships, attack pattern Alpha. We go in together, we hit it hard, and we do not stop until it is finished." The human fleet moved as one toward the giant alien ship. Mining vessels fired their drilling lasers at the mothership's hull. Military cruisers launched every missile they had. Even the converted passenger ships contributed by jamming the enemy's communications with their entertainment systems. Major Songnari and her Marines were still inside a captured hegemony destroyer when the final assault began. The alien crew had completely given up fighting and were hiding in their ship's deepest chambers. For creatures that fed on fear, facing an enemy that felt no fear was like starving to death. "Ma'am, the aliens are trying to surrender," reported Sergeant Kim Tae-young. "They keep making sounds that our translator says mean please stop, and we give up." Song looked at the cowering shadow creatures through her helmet's display. These beings had terrorized the galaxy for thousands of years, but now they were as helpless as children. "Take them prisoner. We are not like them. We do not hurt enemies who surrender." The mothership was fighting desperately now. It tried to retreat into hyperspace, but the combined will of the human fleet seemed to hold it in normal space. Captain Choi Daeho, whose ship had been badly damaged earlier, was coordinating the final attack from a rescue shuttle. "This is for every innocent species you have destroyed," he said, as the Ragnarok lined up for the killing blow. The human dreadnought fired its main cannon directly into the mothership's core. The explosion was so bright that it could be seen from 3 star systems away. When the light faded, there was nothing left of the hegemony mothership except glowing debris. The silence that followed was strange and peaceful. For the first time in months, the Volani system was quiet. The shadow ships were gone, and the dark energy that had poisoned the space around the planets was beginning to fade. "All ships stand down from battle stations," Captain Bay announced. "It is over. We won." Cheers erupted from every human ship in the fleet. Sailors hugged each other, Marines threw their helmets in the air, and even the serious officers smiled for the first time in days. They had done something that no other species in the galaxy had ever accomplished. They had defeated the hegemony. 3 days later, the surviving Volani began to emerge from their underground shelters. Elder Counselor Theron, the leader of the Volani government, contacted the human fleet through quantum communication. The old alien looked tired and scared, but there was hope in his large, gentle eyes. "Humans of Earth," he said in his soft voice, "when we first called you Deathworlders, we meant it as a warning to others. We thought you were dangerous monsters that should be avoided. Now we understand the truth. You are indeed monsters, but you are monsters that protect the innocent from the real darkness." Dr. Han Soyoung was coordinating the relief efforts as human medical teams went down to the planets to help Volani survivors. Human engineers were already designing new cities to replace the ones that had been destroyed. The friendship between the 2 species had become something even stronger, Dr. Elder Theron said during one of their planning meetings. Other species across the galaxy watched this battle through long-range sensors. They saw what you did for us. They are beginning to understand what humans really are. Within weeks, representatives from dozens of alien species began arriving at the Volani system. They had come to meet the humans who had defeated the hegemony. Some were curious, some were grateful, and some were still afraid, but they all wanted to talk. 3 months later, the Galactic Defense Compact was formed on the rebuilt Volani capital world. Commander Kim Minho, now promoted to admiral, stood before representatives of 50 different species as they signed the agreement. "We humans accept the role of protectors," he said. "Not because we want to rule over anyone, but because we understand that strength should be used to protect those who cannot protect themselves." Captain Bay watched from the audience as the ceremony concluded. The Deathworlders of Earth had found their true purpose in the galaxy. They were not conquerors or destroyers. They were the guardians who would stand between the innocent and the darkness. The galaxy was safe, and humanity finally had a place among the stars.